this is Scott here with a little tutorial on setting up a FlyZone. So we usually try to set up the FlyZone so that we have a crosswind, and right now the wind is blowing this way, so we're going to set up the FlyZone going this way, but to start we're going to put an end line down at the end of the line. So what I do is I use my handy dandy stake, stake it into the ground, and then stretch out the end line. The end line is 40 feet. And has elastic so we can stretch it to make it taut. So I'm looking to flip this over and stake it into the ground. Make sure that the center section is up, and it is. There's a center decal. Okay, now that we have the end line in place, we're going to go get the other long line, end line, and set that up. The end line set up, we're going to take this end line and use it as a measuring device to measure 20 feet from the end line to the front line, which you'll see set up. So I take a stick and I put it in the center just to basically anchor the line to measure 20 feet, which is going to be to the decal. So this distance right here is 20 feet, which we're going to put a front line coming across this way. Now we're going to use the front line to set up the rest of this side of the FlyZone. So I take the center of the front line and I'm going to clip it to the center. So we've used the end line to go from the center of the first end line, and we're going to mark 20 feet to the center. This is going to be where the front line goes, and I'm going to stretch this out. So I attached the front line to the measuring line, if you will, and we're going to measure out 20 feet. And then we're going to come across and stretch this one out and stake it as well. And I try to lay it flat so the decal is up, the center decal, just so that's helping us to make sure that the FlyZone is centered. Right. So that's one half of the FlyZone. Here we go. So now I'm going to take the end line and measure it, taking it out. This is going to go to the centering decal on the front line, and it's going to allow us to measure 40 feet. Yeah, the front lines are 40 feet across. So I'm using the end line, which is 40 feet, to measure this out. As you can see, I have a second front line already set up, which is at 40 feet from the other front line. We're going to take the end line, and this is going to be used on the other side of the front line. So we have front lines and end lines. This being the front line, we're going to measure 20 feet from here to where the end line will start. 20 feet being at the center line decal, which will be right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the clip here just so this stays in place, like so. Easy for me to say. And now I'm going to go get the front of the end line. This is going to go parallel to the front line. And then stretch this one out, and we're lined up, so to speak. I'm going to stake this line in, and as you can see, the center line decal is up, and ideally our center line line up as we look down the FlyZone, which is fairly close. Well, not perfect. Try to make sure that the decals are up, like so. I think we're lined up. Now to the FlyZone poles. Next part of setting up the FlyZone is putting up the FlyZone poles, which consist of an anchor tube and FlyZone poles, as well as a flag, a handy dandy wooden flag. So first things first, we put the anchor tube in the sand, and because we're on the beach, we're gonna put it on the first grommet, which is the smaller court, and we put it about 6 inches in front of the line. So I just push it in and just kind of wiggle it about, do the hokey pokey kind of thing. Once it's in there, I just put some sand on it to support it, and then I whip out my FlyZone pole. Here you go, you ready for the whip out? And then we put the flags on the FlyZone poles as so. Easy for me to say. Slip those on, put the FlyZone pole into the anchor tube and straighten it up as appropriate. And there's a FlyZone pole. Second FlyZone pole. Second thing, we're gonna put it on the first grommet. Anchor tube first, goes into the sand about 6 inches in front of the front line. Wiggle, do the hokey pokey, bury it, and then the whip out. My favorite part of the FlyZone setup is the whip out. Flag again. All right, this goes FlyZone pole into the anchor tube. Get it going straight up. Use your sand castle making skills to get that nice and solid, and that's side one of the FlyZone. Here we go, opposite side of the FlyZone. Again, anchor tube first, 6 inches in front of the line. We put this 6 inches in front of the line so that players will be discouraged from hitting the FlyZone poles. FlyZone poles are made out of fiberglass and are kind of pricey, so we don't want people whacking them and breaking them. And here we go, whipping it out again. Wow, I've done that before. I'm a trained professional. So, and then again, flag onto the end of the pole. And here we go. Insert the anchor tube, insert the pole into the anchor tube, line it up straight. And all right, one more pole to go. And look at that, I'm doing a good job. They're actually halfway straight. This is the last anchor tube and FlyZone pole that we're gonna put up. Again, we're using the first grommet because we're at the beach and we're playing in sand. So we're gonna 6 inches from the front line, put that in, wiggle it about, and support it there. Here we go, last whip out. And I just gently tug on the sections to make sure every section's extended fully. And again, the flag goes on, the pole goes in, and we're ready to play. Ta-da! And on cue, the Air Force is doing their flyby as a part of the FlyZone opening, and you can see them coming by to commemorate that we've set up the FlyZone. It's just a general thing I have them do, is do a little flyover for us, although they're not quite lined up very well.